All right, welcome everybody. Brian here from quantlabs.net. So we're going to talk about just overall cryptocurrency space and pretty well give you a rough overview of Binance without getting into the nitty gritty. Do that in a separate video. So let's talk about just the overall crypto space. Why crypto and the utility of it? I think that the utility of crypto is going to build, be it if it's going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum, where maybe central banks may go on to, as an example, go on to the Ethereum blockchain. Who knows? But there's so many uses of these digital currencies. This is the future of money. We can't escape that. It's just going to build. And so the value of crypto. In our case, what we're doing is we're speculating on crypto. It's no different than speculating in the Forex markets through a retail Forex broker like Oanda or FXCM or XM or whatever you use as a Forex broker. This is now the new future, and I think this is one of the reasons why more people are moving into crypto outside of retail Forex. So one of the big advantages of crypto is it never closes. Unlike other traditional markets that you trade in, crypto never closes. It's open every day, 24/7. Also with crypto, it gives you pretty good returns. And the awesome thing is you don't need a lot of leverage. I mean, if you use Binance futures, which we'll talk about, you can use leverage to your heart's content, and they're not regulated to these crypto exchanges as of yet. And there's a lot of advantages to it. So as a result, it can go up to 175. I wouldn't recommend that, but some people want to do it and go all crazy. And one of the advantages of the model, how I built, where you get a signal, and now you have your own Python script, you can get a signal and you can do whatever you want with that signal. You could lever up your leverage with that signal. You could also allocate a certain amount from that trading signal on your next position based upon other techniques that you can learn through what I do by looking at the risk assessment of the market, predicting so on and so forth. But that's another story. But you don't need a lot of leverage. You don't even need leverage to get decent little returns. Way better than I've done the analysis on the traditional S&P 500 markets, and you can easily blow the doors off of Forex. Because Forex, to get the same level of leverage or return do you get in crypto, you have to use crazy leverage in Forex to get the same level of return, but with a lot less risk. Another thing about crypto is it's in its infancy right now. So many new coins coming out, so many new blockchains coming out, and there's such a wide coin selection. It's confusing, but we'll talk about that in a second about that. So let's move over to coin market cap, which is pretty well one of the metrics used to measure not only coins or tokens. We can also look at exchanges as well. So I'll give you a brief run through about this. So if you come into coin market cap under cryptocurrencies, you get all the big boys, and then it goes all the way down to probably 1,000 plus. To be honest, with my stuff in the Binance futures market, usually Binance will select certain coins because either they have good volume, good liquidity, and most of all, they have really good performance. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But you can see here, you get the price, the volume, and easily Bitcoin blows away everything else combined with other coins like Ethereum or XRP or Tether. Just to understand this, we have Bitcoin, which is a standard crypto token or coin in the world. It's the biggest, without a doubt. Here's the market cap right there. Ethereum's number 2, and then we have XRP. But when you look at the total volume traded, you have Tether, which is tethered to the U.S. dollar. So this is what you call a stable coin. So it helps to remove a lot of the volatility that you would get if you were to trade, let's say, Bitcoin against Tether. It helps to smooth out that crazy volatility. You can see here the performance of it doesn't move over a 24-hour period, so it's only 16th of or 1/10 or 2/10 of a percent, and it rarely moves because it's tied back to the U.S. dollar. Even though the market cap's small, but you can see here the circulating supply and the traded volume is number one, and then number two is Bitcoin. So be aware of that because it's the largest stable coin, and most people out there, especially if it's on a crypto-to-crypto exchange where it doesn't offer fiat currencies like a U.S. dollar, will, as a substitute, trade in USDT or Tether. Okay, so it's USDT or Tether, and that's just really important to understand that. So that's generally the overall crypto space of all the different coin selection out there. So let's go over to the exchanges. Now, in CoinMarketCap, you have different exchange offerings. We have adjusted volume, and then we have other crypto exchanges, namely out of Asia, that report, we'll call it inflated volume. And they do that just for competitive reasons. But when it comes to Binance, they're the true largest. So when you look at the adjusted volume on the exchanges here, you can see Binance is kind of nowhere to be seen here. And just so you know, Binance is so big that they just bought out CoinMarketCap last week. So CoinMarketCap is now bought and owned by Binance. But here you can see Binance is nowhere to be seen in this list, number 20. So what CoinMarket did is they measured it by liquidity. Okay, this is the true measurement of an exchange. So in here we have the top, let's say 5. Okay, so in the crypto exchanges out there, a lot of them are based out of Asia. These ones, this type of metric, exchanges by liquidity, will help eliminate the questionable exchanges out there. And when I say questionable, these are the exchanges you don't want to be on. But you can easily see which ones those are if you just look at the adjusted volume, because they're inflated, not to be trusted. If you want to know which exchange to go with, you go by liquidity. So I'll just give you a rundown of my overall view. I've tried to hit BTC. You can see here you got number of markets is like 800 plus. That you may think that's awesome, but it's kind of irrelevant because I would say the bottom 400 or 500 markets or tokens or coins are useless. They're crap. They're not traded. They don't have enough volume. So this metric really has no bearing. And then you have Bitfinex, which I believe is out of US. I'll talk about US exchanges versus Asian-based or European exchanges. Then we have Binance, we have Huobi. These two, I believe Bitfinex is US-based, but we'll just focus on Kraken. Kraken's decent size based on this metric of liquidity. I've had a lot of fill problems when I tried it live, and I was hoping to go into either Coinbase or Kraken. Kraken's your largest US-based exchange because the commissions are fairly low. When you look at another one which is trying to be popular is Coinbase. I mean, it's let me see if I can find it here just to give you a position of it. I mean, Coinbase is it on there? I don't know. But Coinbase is not on here probably because, and they're US based as well, because their commissions are a lot higher. So to trade on Binance is 0.1% as a commission fee. I can't remember what Kraken is. It's still higher than Binance. Coinbase is 0.5%. And when you're trading like the way I do, you wouldn't make money on Coinbase. You'd probably be challenged on Kraken as well. But I'm not stopping people from choosing with Kraken. Again, one of the nice things about my open source Python script, when you get the signal, I'll tell you, I would recommend to be in sync with where the data comes from Binance, and trade on Binance. But with the same time, that script, if you want to trade on Kraken or Coinbase as an American, you can do that. Um, but your data is going to be out of sync. And the discrepancy, especially with Bitcoin, that discrepancy could be a couple $100. So you want to stick with Binance. Okay, so we'll talk about Binance in detail more. But all these other exchanges, I'd be a little wary of, based on, can you trust them, and can you uh, and what is the commission fee, because that can be an inhibitor on your profit. That's why I like Binance, because the exchange fee is very low. It's big enough in terms of volume, and it's pretty clean and can be trusted so far from what I've seen. That's why I like Binance. And they're very innovative. I mean, like I said, they just took over CoinMarketCap. And some people may not like that. That's fine. I haven't run into any real problems with Binance yet, but that's why I use Binance. So let me go back to our spreadsheet here, or sorry, to our to our little slide deck here. So we've talked a lot about coin market cap, and over a pretty good overview of the crypto coin space. So let's understand Binance is, there's the futures market with Binance. And that's a futures market as well. And they're going to be actually introducing an options market as well, which is awesome, because I could develop my little futures bot, strategy bot, for the futures market. And I can expand that for the futures market, maybe for the CME when this thing becomes legit. Or if there's options, same strategy, where I can develop an option strategy for a crypto market like Binance, and then hopefully be able to move it into an options market, like a real options market on the CME again. So there's that. And you have the futures market right now versus the spot market. From what I've seen a few months ago, futures market seems bigger than the spot market, but it comes and goes. Now, the other big factor you got to ask yourself is fiat currency versus crypto. Um, many exchanges out there will offer fiat currency. Binance does as well. Obviously, the most popular fiat currency would be US dollar. That's where Kraken, or even dare I say Coinbase, is good. That will help focus on the American resident for regulatory reasons for within the US. But then you also get other exchanges like Huobi, OKX, larger exchanges that are only crypto only. And Binance could be considered a real crypto only exchange, but Binance is now offering fiat currency, and you can trade in fiat on the spot market within Binance. This will include uh, crazy fiat currencies like ruble, Russian ruble, the Nigerian naira, or for now the Turkish lira. Those three sound. Why would they choose that? Binance chooses those exchange or those currencies because they've identified that their markets in these countries are important to Binance. So they're trying to attract more customers from those countries of Nigeria, Russia, and Turkey. And remember, Binance is really a worldwide exchange. So they're constantly adding new currencies, fiat currencies. I heard they just added Canada, my home country. But I'll show you some other options you have with Binance. And it's pretty good. And then you also have crypto-only exchanges as well. We'll talk about that as well. So let's talk about the crypto exchange. So I've already talked about how the Binance is one of the top 3 exchanges in the world. As I said, it's also the most trusted. So let's go over to Binance.com and see what we have. So here in Binance.com, we have I gotta tell you, Binance is very, very innovative, great at building all these different just community level stuff. So I want to talk about first the different markets out there. There's a classic spot market and the futures market. And there's all these different ones as well. We have P2P, so you could do transfers. I believe it's commission free. I don't know. And that's where they may include like other fiat currencies. Like I just think they may have added Canada here, but I'm not going to worry about that. Let's just worry about the two markets, two types of ways to trade. It's the spot market and the classic and the futures. So in the classic, what we have, let me first show you the futures market. Okay, I just want to show you the coin selection. As I said before, when you look at BTC, Bitcoin, and USDT, I've already mentioned it, that in the futures market on Binance, you only can trade in USDT or Tether because it's tethered to the US dollar. There's right now, I believe, 23 coins, and that's all you have. So when I talk about my futures bot, this is what I'm referring to. Only these current coins that are selected from within the futures market. So they're periodically adding new coins to this market, and they may take away some of these coins down the road as performance is not as good and eventually the liquidity dries up. And that's what these exchanges do, like Binance. They'll take away the useless tokens or coins that are not performing, that have no liquidity, and kind of are a late waste of time. That's just the evolution of these exchanges, and Binance no different. So when you go through this list of available coins in the futures market, two things that, as you get familiar with them, usually they perform well. That's why they're in the futures market, and they have really good volume as well. Okay, so just want you to be aware of that. And you can get, I got lots of videos on this, analyzing what's available in the futures data. And this is a great market to be part of. You can speculate better in this market. And this is where you get your crazy leverage as well, that 175. And there's no regulations here yet, being right now when I'm recording this video. But you can get up to 175 leverage, so that's pretty crazy, and that's available to you. So that is the futures market in Binance. And then we have the classic market in basically in Binance. So this is where it gets even more confusing for people. So this is like, let's say, the BTC USDT market. We have all these coins available here. It's so many. You have different ones in a Bitcoin market. You can see here we have BNB, BTC, alts, and fiat. So let me walk you through this. So the largest market here, okay, these are the largest markets, okay? Let me just refresh this. So we have different markets within Binance. Now, you can trade in these different markets, but basically what they are is you're going to trade, let's say, in the Bitcoin market, in the spot market, you're going to have everything in BTC. So you're going to have everything in Bitcoin. Pretty straightforward, right? And then we have another coin that you may not know called BNB, which is Binance's own coin. Okay, so BNB is called Binance coin, so it's BNB. So obviously, some will criticize Binance for this, but it makes sense what they're trying to do. They want to create their own coin, and they have this BNB market. Now, just so you know, I've been tracking this probably the last 6 months. This market is not the best market to trade in because the volume is so low. In this market, in the BTC, this market is big enough, but the performance lately has been really, really sad. It's not worth it. And then we get into another market, what Binance calls the alts market. Okay, so we have 3 other coins that we can trade in. We got Ethereum, which is the second biggest coin out there. In that market, we have Tron, TRX, or XRP. Let's look at the XRP. So we only have right now 2 coins to deal with the XRP market. From my experience, you don't worry about XRP. This is also known as Ripple. It is the 3rd biggest, but generally XRP is not the best market right now, and I don't think it'll ever improve. If it would have improved, it would have done by now, and I don't worry about it. There's just not enough volume there. Another one is the Tron market. Again, this one is another market you could try, not enough volume. One of these, I can't remember which one of these one of these pairs can do okay, but from my perspective, I wouldn't worry about it. But out of the alt market, Ethereum market is really good. So everything's in Ethereum. Now, from my experience building these bots, the 2 biggest, now we're dealing with crypto to crypto. So notice when we say we're trading in Bitcoin or Ethereum or something else that's a crypto, that's what we call crypto to crypto. So if it's crypto to crypto in either BTC or Ethereum, overall I find that the Ethereum market is smaller, but you get better performance in the Ethereum market. I have a bot built similar to the futures market. This does not perform well. I mean, overall, if I ran it for a month, this bot in the Bitcoin market is going to pull off a lot of losses. From past history, when I trade, same trading logic, same trading rules for the bot, in the Ethereum market, I generally get better performance in the Ethereum market. I can't explain why, I just do, and from what I'm seeing. Okay, and then we have, as I said, we have the futures market, as I showed you, and everything is traded in USDT. Even though USDT, which is tethered as a stable coin, this can do pretty good as well. Okay, this market can do well, but you're only going to get the top 20 plus coins out there, as I've said earlier. So let me go back to where I was. So right now I'm testing out again the Ethereum bot, and generally it's looking okay. I won't say but it's doing much better than Bitcoin bot, that's for sure. And then we move into the fiat market. Okay, this is all new. So the fiat they consider USDT, which we talked about. There's this other one called TUSD, USDC, and PAX. These 3 are also tethered to the US dollar, but again, the volume's nowhere close to USDT. So that's why I only focus on USDT. Okay, and then we have these new ones. Again, they're constantly added. Okay, so you're now moving into crypto to fiat because now you can trade in euro, Bitcoin against euro as an example, and that is now going from, as I said, crypto to fiat. So if I look at that market, we only have 4 coins that we can work with: the BNB, Binance Coin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Right now, I find that these markets are fairly low volume. Last time I checked, which is about a month ago. This may expand, and this may be the next step that Binance will push to really go mainstream for people that want to trade euro in the euro market, but they only have 3 coins right now, or 4 coins, but they may expand this. And they also have these other markets that are been identified that are important uh, to Binance as a customer from countries like Nigeria, the Nigerian Naira. So again, we only have Bitcoin, BNB, and this BUSD, and then we have ruble. So it's a little more. And again, all of these volumes for these fiat currencies are really low. Okay, so and then we have the Turkish, right? And now they just added this other one for the South African uh, rand. Okay, so we have limited selection of coins on top of the volumes are probably not there yet. All right, so those are the different markets. So right now, I like to trade potentially the Ethereum market and then the futures market as well here that I just showed you. Now, the futures market is great for bots to have a strategy that's momentum based. As you can see here, the performance as of right now, everything's green, 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 or was. There you go. It's all green. Okay, so that's great. That's where a bot will do well. And to contradict that, sometimes you do get another bot like mine. It's still momentum based, but yet you have much more coin selection to work from. So you will get less correlated coins that don't perform with Bitcoin. So as a result, there will be sometimes certain coins in there that will go against what Bitcoin's doing, because a lot of coins perform in the same direct relationship as Bitcoin. But there's the odd coin that may come out of nowhere where it will trade against what Bitcoin's doing. Example from what I've seen lately could be like a private coin. Sometimes you get Dash or Monero or Zcash go against what Bitcoin's doing, or Link as another one, Chainlink as well. So those are some examples. So overall, this is the overall space of Binance. So the two ones right now, the ones that I like, and my bot performs pretty decently, is in the futures market. And then kind of when things don't do as well, we have another one for the Ethereum market. And the Bitcoin market, I've tried my best, is just not doing all that well there. Let's go back to our slide deck now. So as I've shown you, we have Binance, which is one of the top three. I didn't even say maybe the largest, but definitely one of the most trusted. I've talked about the spot versus futures market. Now, let's talk about regulatory problems for Binance. So what Binance did for Americans, where the US government wanted to control access for Americans, because let's face it, the way Binance has originally been set up, people can set themselves up with anonymous accounts, which we'll talk about, and not need to go through the Know Your Customer KYC or anti-money laundering, because there's different tiers of different types of customer levels. So an American can still trade on Binance.com. The thing is that you're going to be anonymous. Okay, so if you're anonymous, you're going to be quote unquote severely limited on how much you can draw out of your account. I think it's 2 Bitcoins a day. When you look at the value of Bitcoin in US dollars right now, that's close to 14 grand for 2 Bitcoins. Okay, and that always fluctuates. Even if it gets knocked down to 5, 10 grand a day, like you got to be doing awesome, like beyond awesome, to be able to have that limitation on you. So Americans can somewhat trade anonymously in Binance.com if they wanted. So there is that option. But what Binance did to placate to the US regulators, they created this website called Binance.us. The volumes are pitiful. So when you look at here, ooh, the volume has, last time I checked, has doubled to 4 million a day. But when you look at Bitcoin USDT, and remember USDT, which is tethered, it's supposed to be tethered to the US dollar. So when you look at the 24-hour volume, you can see it's $583 million per day, 24-hour period, versus $4 million. So the volume is just not there. Okay, so there is this exchange if you wanted to trade in. I don't think it's worthwhile unless you want to just trade Bitcoin only. But when it's only trading 4 million a day, you're not going to go very far. Sorry to the US folks. And then also what Binance did, good old regulators, they have something called Binance, I think it's called, what's it called? Binance GJE, Jersey. Now, this is for the British and the Euro folks. So Binance Jersey is available as well, where you can go through and trade Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, BNB, and whatever that is. like you just check the volume, and ooh, it's 200 British pounds a day. That's all right, but you can see here again the volume. This one, the volume's pretty bad. €250,000 a day, $140,000 or British pounds a day. Why bother? This is why you got to go back to Binance. Now, I can't tell you what the regulatory standing is. I know as a fact that Binance.com, which is when I say Binance.com, is another way of saying Binance Asia, because the servers are out of somewhere in Asia, Japan, Singapore, wherever it is. They don't. Well, this site, when you register, will not take an American at all. If you reside in the U.S., this is a no-go. But you can still register as an anonymous user. You're just kind of limited to the 2 Bitcoins a day. I think I could live with that. All right, so these are just kind of different new options you can kind of look at with Binance, but I wouldn't be surprised that Binance one day may look at both Binance.je Jersey and Binance.us and go, why are we running these? We don't get the volume. So they may pull the plug on these sites and just obviously focus on Binance.com, because most of the trading, even when the crypto space is down, it's still going to get traded out of Asia. I mean, they're just crazy for crypto. So we'll just leave it at that. Back to the slide deck we go. All right, so I'm almost going there. We want, want that one. So we've covered a lot of this here. We've talked about Binance, 3 biggest exchanges, spot versus futures. We've talked about the different sites and exchanges that Binance offers for Euro, Britain, and US. We've talked about the fiat versus crypto. We've also talked about KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering options, and the limitations of anonymous. So now we talk about the crypto trading bot strategies. This is important as well. So hopefully I've not left you in the dust, but it's really important to go through the overall structure of how Binance works. As you can see, as I showed you, there's so many options right now with what Binance offers. I can't even keep up with it. But those, what I just showed you is what I focus on right now. And really what matters is the trading volume. It's there and it's liquid. That's what you need to worry about. But there's other options for you. That's why I get really excited by these. Binance is highly innovative in so many ways. But let's talk about your trading bot strategies. So traditionally there's 2 classic strategies out there. There's momentum or trend following. And then there's the other one called mean reversion. So we'll talk about the conditions on when to trade what under what condition. In the markets, traditionally you have obviously momentum based, there's trend as I just showed you in the futures market, it's all nothing but green. Then we have a down market, and then we have a sideways market, or what they call a range-bound market, which is kind of not moving anywhere. So we have different strategies for different reasons. The two strategies that I've got working, one for sure is doing pretty good, is the crypto to crypto in the futures market within Binance. So the crypto to crypto with a momentum-based strategy, and it can make money. I get excited by that because that's pretty hard to do. And it's almost every day it's making money for little old me. So I've built a signaling service, so hopefully you can get the same success. And that is all fine and good with a trend following. But really, when you're trading in a crypto to crypto market, you want to be in a mean reversion market. Or use a mean reversion strategy. So there's that. Now, also talking about the second point of the stable coins of USDT or Tether versus other markets. There's different reasons on different strategies for those markets. But again, market conditions dictate where things are. Then we have the classic mean reverting strategies where we have crypto to crypto, where it's really used for when the markets go flat. So the crypto to crypto markets when the mean reverting strategy, where I've got one in development right now. This one with the BTC stats, these are capturing all the stats from the blockchain of Bitcoin. Really important to understand that because now we're moving off of the crypto exchange like Binance, and as a result, there may be some potential with this strategy. Classic conditions when you want to use mean reverting. And those are just another way of saying I want to run a strategy. Doesn't matter the market condition, but you pick a pair like Bitcoin against Tether, USDT, and no matter what the market does or where it's going, the price of, let's say, Bitcoin against USDT or Tether will move up, and then it'll eventually move back down to its mean. So you can make money by the shorting end of it or longing under whatever the market condition is. It's just what matters is to know your price direction or market direction of that coin that you're following, like Bitcoin against Tether. So in there, that's what we're doing, and you can learn more about my blog on the stats and what to use for price direction on something like Bitcoin. Okay, so there's that. And again, I've talked about stable coins, where USDT or Tether is the largest out there. The other smaller ones that are tethered back to the US dollar, I wouldn't worry about them. They just don't have the volume. So again, I've talked about the crypto marking trading conditions. So most of the time, your bot or my bot trading signals will not generate signals. That's to prevent you from losing money, so it won't send out trading signals. So there may be days where you may not get a signal at all from one of these bots, especially if it's trend following or momentum based. And it's purposely designed to not take trades when it knows the performance of whatever coins are out there are not performing. They're not providing any profit at all, so they don't trade. So understand when you don't see signals, there's a reason for that. It's because those bots are not, or signals are not getting generated because the market conditions are not allowing the signals to get generated. Once I get more a mean reverting strategy developed, you will see for sure signals for those type of conditions when it goes range bound or sideways. Obviously, momentum-based strategies, when it's trending up, you'll get lots of signals for both whatever market and the futures market as well. And then you have the dropping markets. My bots only have a long bias view, so that means they will only trade when the trend is up. So if it's declining, there will be no signals right now because they don't short and there's no short bias at all on these bots. So understand that. But down the road, I hope to have bots that will short or use margin trading, whatever you call it, because Binance allows that in the Binance.com Asian markets. Well, namely the futures with the crazy leverage and up and coming now options market. So that's where we're at with everything. And pretty well, hopefully I've covered everything about Binance, the different exchanges and the utility of the coins and the market conditions, and when you register with whatever exchange you want. And we'll now go into overall how to set up a Binance account and mainly go over how to get those token coins for your bot when you want to receive the signals. All right, thanks for watching.